right, welcome back to Drew Pearson Live. It's time now for our first ever Drew Pearson Live Draft Special. I'm joined by the panel of experts. Let me introduce everybody. That's 14-year veteran, NFL veteran, Larry Sanders right there. He's still the all-time leading receiver for running backs in the National Football League, well over 800 catches. Almost doubled what I caught. I ain't mad or nothing. But anyway, sitting next to Larry there. Thanks for being with us, Larry. Appreciate it. There's our man who was in Chicago. That's Matt Thornton. And Matt was the Dallas Entertainment Journal editor. Matt, how was things behind the scenes?
It was fantastic.
All
it was
right.
really good.
Can't wait to hear about that. And also, you'll probably recognize him here as part of the Channel 47 family. That's Brady Tinker from DFW Sports. And this guy you probably recognize as well. He's been on Drew Pearson Live a number of times. That's Doc from the A&E show. So this is our panel of experts, and you guys are all qualified,
As
right?
it were.
To talk about the draft.
We are right
this
this minute.
over. That makes us experts, right? Because we're never wrong when we go after or post-draft, right? All right, let's start it off. What are you guys thinking about the draft overall and it being moved from New York to Chicago? And let's start with you, Matt. Since you were behind the scenes there.
Well, Drew, thanks. And thanks for having me. I have to tell you guys, it was absolutely amazing. So I've been to the draft in New York. I've been to the draft in Chicago. In New York, you go to Radio City Music Hall. You line up for about 6 or 7 hours. Maybe you get in, maybe you don't. The people of Chicago, they had you go. They gave you a QR code. You scan that QR code, and it texts you when your time in line came up.
Wow.
So you could go out, you can enjoy Draft Town, the see players, you could go and get autographs from players. Draft Town was just absolutely amazing. And you got swag. So, the swag bag they gave you, so they got you this really cool swag bag here.
Nice.
So you got all kinds of goodies from Skittles.
In there, huh?
Yeah, you got some goodies in there. And you even had an opportunity, Drew, to create a custom shirt. So, you could create a custom shirt, Thornton, 15, throw your, and of course
to be
you had to have
politically
those.
correct, you should have had 88 on it, but I ain't saying none.
Well, it was draft 15. That's a good point. I should have, absolutely. But
no, it looks good. What's on the other side?
Yeah, that's the draft. The 2015 draft logo is there. So
that's sweet.
Yeah, so it was really cool.
Yeah, so the turnout was awesome for that, and I'm sure they're going to carry that to another city next year, but you still had to get down to business. And the first part of the draft went kind of as expected. Those two quarterbacks, Winston and Mariota, went at top. Brady, is that what you expected?
I thought there might be trades.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised that they were the first two picks. I thought there might be trades. There were a lot of candidates that all of us thought might be interested in either one of the quarterbacks for different reasons. It's a quarterback league, Drew.
Yeah.
It has been since you were playing.
Absolutely.
And you have to have a quarterback to even get your fans interested, and you certainly have to have a good quarterback to win and get to the playoffs. So that didn't surprise me. The running backs went a little bit earlier. We were sort of thinking, do the Cowboys have an interest at 27 if one of those guys, Gordon, probably falls to them, and that was out of the window 10 and 15. So nothing really shocked me. And I only look at it from a Cowboys perspective for the most part. So I was happy with the way it went, through 15, because I kept thinking there's still defense, there's still defense, there's still defense. So I thought it was good. The NFL is great at what it does, and that is making damn money.
They certainly can do that. And you mentioned about the running backs. Were you surprised that Gurley went as high as he did?
I was a little bit surprised. I expected Gordon and Melvin to go a little bit higher. Melvin Gordon and Gurley to go a little higher. I don't think that the running back has the type of value in the league that it has had in the past. It's been a diminished position overall. So, that's kind of the way things are going.
And that always is that way until the season starts. Then everybody's talking about how important a running game is. Look at Indianapolis. They know how important a running game is. They got the great quarterback, and they've had great receivers, but they know they need that running back to make it all work. And that's
they gave up a ton to get Trent Richardson too. Man,
and so that's where they're still trying to figure out. Yeah. But it was a good draft overall. I think it went pretty much as expected, as the experts were picking in their mock drafts and things like that. But what about the Cowboys, Jim, in their picks?
Well, I love the Cowboys' first pick. I think they quite possibly got the best athlete in the entire draft.
Yeah.
The kid, now he didn't play in, the the strongest division in college. He played at Connecticut, played at UConn, but I mean, when you look at him on tape, I mean, he can run, he can jump. Nobody's going to throw a jump ball on this kid. So, I mean, I'm anxious to see if he can play. There's talks about the possibility of him ending up at safety as well.
Yeah.
And then, did they draft him to put pressure on Brandon Carr to get that contract worked out? There's the issue with Skandrick. So, I mean, I think it was a great pick.
Yeah. What did you think about that, Matt?
Yeah, I love the pick. And the thing that really is impressive about him is not just his athletic ability. He's a really smart kid, too. He got a 33 on his Wonderlic. Okay,
right.
And Tony Romo back in 03 got a 37.
Wow.
So I mean, he scored off the charts. The other thing is just a little tidbit. The guy who he's going to come in and compete with got a 4 on his Wonderlic, Mo Claiborne.
Claiborne.
Yeah, he's the lowest known Wonderlic test on record.
That's not a sign.
Yeah,
it's already a sign, Drew. It's already a sign.
Yeah, of course, they didn't pick up Mo's option on his 5th year, so that's
all that means is next year.
Yeah,
they would have owed him $10 million. They weren't picking that up.
Yeah. Larry, did you think they were going to go defense, which everybody was saying the Cowboys need to go defense with that first pick?
They put a lot of emphasis on improving the defense during the offseason. I've noticed that even prior to the draft. I wasn't surprised. Going back to what Matt was saying, I'm not as concerned about this guy learning how to do the Wonderlink as I am him learning the playbook and how to play football.
Yeah,
so, there's a difference between the two. I watched some tape on this kid, this Byron Jones kid, and he is definitely a football player, including a great athlete.
Yeah. And he's very physical. I think that's what they need at that position, because you see Skandrick. What makes Skandrick what he is he's a physical cornerback. Yeah. What makes Carr not what he is that he's not a physical cornerback. And Claiborne, the same thing. So they wanted that there. And he has the versatility now to play safety. Our safeties had pretty good season, Wilcox and Church last season. So we can shore that up with a guy like this being physical in a nickel defense or something like that. I think it's a good pick for the Cowboys.
Give them options, Drew.
And
I think that's what they like.
Exactly.
Is versatile athletes who are good guys, who are captains of their team, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All Jason Garrett guys. But he played more safety in college than he did cornerback.
Right.
So I think they envisioned Barry Church, who's pretty versatile and a good tackler, being able in nickel situations play some linebacker.
Yeah.
And they can put this kid at safety. They haven't had a free safety that's really good, Drew, in how long? A free safety that you liked.
Well, Darren Woodson
was pretty good, but that's a long time ago.
Cliff Harris, those two come out.
Yeah.
And between those and after Woodson,
not much.
Not many recall those names that played those positions. Now we go to the second pick, the Cowboys. Now they're picking 60. This guy Gregory falls all the way down there, and we all know why, right? He had some off the field issues, but the Cowboys think they got enough in place, structure, to bring a guy like that in and turn him and make him not only a great football player, but a great person as well. Your thoughts on Gregory being the second pick?
Well, he's a top 15 talent. I mean, if he doesn't have the off-the-field issues, if he doesn't have the issue going into the camp and doesn't miss the meetings and such, I mean, this kid's long gone.
Yeah,
he's long gone. He's like I said, he's a top 15 talent that fell to number 60, and he falls right in, just like Brady said a minute ago. I mean, talking about having options, and I mean, he does give you some more options.
Yes, he does.
Of course, with the signings that we've had in the off season, I mean, this kid is awesome, and I think he's going to be great. I think they do have. You and I have talked many a time about that internal system that the Cowboys have to be able to work with guys like this. And I think he's going to be just fine.
Yeah, I think so too. What about you, Brady? Think about that pick.
Both these guys remind me of how things were in your day, and that was that the people in charge picked athletes that they liked, and a lot of times changed positions, right? Charlie Waters changed positions. You had guys, they called Charlie and said, "Can you run backwards?" And he was like,
Right,
what are you talking about?
He was a quarterback.
And they envisioned him, as a safety or as a cornerback. So I think, they're going for it. I mean, that's the bottom line. With these two picks, they're going for it. They're desperate in the secondary to get talent, get athleticism. And it turns out they got a leader and a good guy.
Right.
And they think he's coachable.
Yeah.
And then with Gregory, they just weren't going to do it at 27. He was top 18 on their board, top 18. And for him to be there at 60, they just didn't have any choice, especially if you're, quote, going for it.
Yeah, you got to take a chance there. And I look at it as 2 number 1 picks they got in this draft.
Totally.
And,
they
you feel the same way,
They got
Matt?
2 of the top 30 players in the draft.
There you
Absolutely,
go.
I absolutely agree. Completely agree. And don't forget, the Cowboys lost 9.5 sacks from their team last year. They have to replace those 9.5 somehow.
Yeah.
So I really wanted them to get a D lineman in that first round. And when they didn't, Byron, great pick. But then that kid kept falling and falling, and I said, boy, is there a chance? And they grabbed him. So completely agree. And he's gonna get to the quarterback. I mean, he's got 17.5 sacks.
2 years.
I mean, he gets there. He's got prototypical size, quick step off the go. I mean, he's just gonna be a sack machine.
And a healthy DeMarcus Lawrence.
Not to mention, man, and Hardy's here as well whenever he gets
Hardy,
here.
when Hardy gets back in.
And they had him in, Drew. I mean, he came in,
Oh, yeah.
and they had lots of conversations with everybody. And then Jared got back on the phone with him again before he was falling, and they were like, he might get to us at 60.
Yeah.
They got on the phone with him. Jared talked to him for almost an hour before the pick and said, "What do you want? This is what we want." And he basically said, "I want what Dez had.
Right.
I want a support system in place to basically get my butt to where I need to go and keep me out of the places I'm not supposed to be at." And Jerry said, "We got you," because that guy doesn't work for Dez anymore.
Right.
Perfect.
He's available.
He's available.
He's available.
Yeah.
Now he has these off the field issues we know about. Do you think that'll affect him, Larry, or you think he's past all that now?
I'd like to think he's past it. I like a few of his comments that I've read. He said that, and most people think it's a marijuana issue, but it's more of a decision-making issue, which leads me to believe that he has taken a step forward at his level of maturity. Going back to his ability, I think that I couldn't agree with everybody on the panel more in that these first 2 picks gives the team the ability to move these guys to different positions. And this Randy Gregory is a tweener. He can either play linebacker or he can play defensive end. And he has a motor, and I see him being probably the best pick in this draft.
Yeah, and then there's Rod Marinelli, that factor.
Right.
I mean, you don't do it right for him.
No.
He ain't gonna take no mess. He don't have time to play out there. It's a serious business, and he's gonna press that upon these guys to make sure they understand that. So when you want to grade that first 2 rounds, before we get into the rest of the Cowboy draft, let's grade that first 2 rounds. What do you give them, Larry?
The first 2 rounds, I give him a A-.
A minus?
I give him a solid A. Solid A.
Right on.
A- as well. There's some risks.
Solid A.
I give him an A as well. All right.
Yeah.
Here we go. All right. We're all in accordance.
The rest
man.
went this good.
That doesn't happen. All right, we got more to discuss. The rest of the draft, and I want you to give the overall grade on the Cowboys draft the rest of the way. And again, they went heavy on the defensive side, so that's what we expected. We're going to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll be breaking down the later rounds of the draft and giving you our overall grades for the 2015 draft. So stay tuned.
Drew Pearson Live is brought to you by Whataburger. The Honey Mustard Whata Chicken Club is a tangy twist on a tasty classic. Enjoy it while you can, only at Whataburger.